All right, so I'm headed here to do a group pack walk for my clients. I've mentioned it before. Any client of mine who works with me in a training program can have access to these. I'll usually do them 2 times a month, sometimes a little more. They're just for clients to just side-by-side work together, get in an environment where it's conducive to the structure that most clients who see me, their dogs need. And it's a way to access me if they have questions, both during our training time and then down the road they ever want to drop in. All clients are welcome. I wish more clients would utilize it. This is LA, and I'm not going to go on a rant tangent about it, but I think people here sometimes would prefer their own conveniences and comfort than getting the work done that's needed for at least the others around them that can't do it for themselves, dogs, children, whatever. Anyway, I'm bringing my dog, Sue, right? He's a trained dog, but he could improve, and he definitely enjoys being around other dogs. He likes helping me. He likes walking in a pack. A lot of my clients, they have reactive dogs, and when they come to these classes, they do quite well, simply because they have more control of their dog from the start, and the dogs working together, walking, doing simultaneous commands, focusing on their respective owners, feels that they're kind of working as a pack. People don't use that term as much as maybe they used to, but dogs do like to, I don't want to say follow constantly a leader, but be part of something greater than themselves, so they don't have to overthink a shared situation unless it was necessary. And we constantly put our dogs in those positions, and hence why we have our problem behaviors as almost like a symptom of that issue, right? Some dogs, of course, require it more than others, but if they do, you got to make some pretty clear, concise sense to them when you're communicating an alternative, and that's why I use commands in a very meaningful way. But you have to assert the meaning of those commands, both in general, to practice and make a certain role and commitment to structure and checking in with them, and a calmer choice being made for everything around the house. That's why I talk about don't let your dog follow and overreact and anticipate and run up to you and ask for things and pace around without a purpose. Give them direction, give them a command, mean what you say, back up your command. Don't let them add a command so you say something else or release them. It's not to be mean or strict, it's to actually get the dog to feel a lack of anxiety and question of things that they're trying to take on, which are related to the human condition that they never will, and that causes all their problems because they're trying their best to, put me in charge of whatever, a giant corporation. I'm going to act like your dog. I'm not going to know what to do. I'm going to have too many obligations that my brain can't process, right? So dogs, we have to do that because they can't take it on themselves, and some are wired to be more hypervigilant, so they're constantly reacting to, I call them transitions and new social events, which is movement around the house, getting up off the couch to do something. New things that happen are a greater transition. Guess that's why they react stronger in a negative way. Walks, they encounter something, a new environment, a new dog, a new person, food, anything related to you're doing something there. And when your dog is caught up in all that, chances are they're going to have separation anxiety, reactivity, impulse control problems, barking issues, counter surfing, marking, you name it, right? So you have to address that for what it is. I guess the point I was making is that's why I use commands as an alternative, because it's a very straightforward way to get clients, owners, and dogs on the same page without getting into every little technicality of, conditioning. It's like, well, tell your dog to do this, have them stay there, make sure there's eye contact, and don't let them up until they're told otherwise, and hold them accountable by bringing them back and rewarding them when they improve on it. It's that simple, but it doesn't happen. And a lot of times I see people drop the ball right in front of me, where I'm like, just have your dog sit at your side, and they just can't get that together. And then when I tell them more, they get upset. It's kind of common these days. That's why I complain that clients can be difficult to work with, because I don't know how much more straightforward. I understand it's not something that they wanted to do when they first got a dog. I wish people all called me as puppies. It would be all more just conditioning and not rehabilitation. But when your dog is overreacting to an everyday life that you provide for them, guess what? You got to be as serious about what they're feeling in how you give them direction. And again, the commands are the simplest way at certain times, like preventatively, or my dog's barking, my dog's pulling, my dog's reacting. Well, get them in a command, or get them in their place and keep them there, hold them accountable, use the leash properly, You know, make sure that they calm down through that till something else happens, even if it's just too exciting. You know, the jumping on people, whatever. So that's the hardest part of my job, is getting people in those moments where the dog, I mean, I hate saying it, but they could feel it's life or death when it's not. Otherwise, they wouldn't react that strongly about these things. They're animals. They're hunters, predators. Even though we're providing, where there's something inside of them that definitely, if it feels that they've got to over-assess and not rely on...
Speed check reported ahead on Ventura Freeway.
Sorry about that. Some dogs are gonna act out on that. Anyway, I don't think I can explain it more, and I don't want to just over and over layer this with explanation of what I'm trying to express. If your dog has an issue, it's real to them. They definitely think it's life or death if they're acting this way, when you know there is no life or death. So why don't we treat training as our lives depended on it? And you might see an energy and an application of your commands, your intentions, your boundaries, rules, direction at specific times and transitions and social events can actually help your dog quickly see an alternative way to get through it, and remain conscious and calm enough to see the reality of it without their overstimulated, overreactive response, getting them to just get this bad habit of just coping and reacting, not actually just, existing, observing, appropriately responding, like tail wagging, looking, interest, checking in with you. That's the goal. All right.